That was, of course, Jon Snow doing a news report about a popular hit this year. What song do you think they were talking about? David Mitchell, you look as if you don't know what a song is.
That's all I know, basically. I do know what a song is. I'm aware that thousands of people enjoy music and football, but I don't understand either, and I wish they'd go away.
Yes.
What did you say?
I think I said something. Oh, yeah, sorry, I slipped.
Sorry, I slipped? 1 minute you're panicking. Sorry, I slipped. Forgive me.
She stood at the side.
Even in near-death situations, you're middle class. Sorry, I slipped, my dear.
I didn't say...
Did you fetch my cravat? It appears to have wafted away.
I didn't say sorry I slipped in a suave tone of but I did say sorry because it's very deeply ingrained in me to apologise at almost any occasion.
So how did you say
Apparently you can say less or if you want to now.
Yeah.
Apparently you can just say what you like these days. Apparently that's
You can literally say less if you want to.
Apparently you're not allowed to scream idiot at people. What was the point in getting an education at all? I know how to use the apostrophe. Apparently now it doesn't matter. What I want the time it took me to learn that back.
My point is that at least the myself, yourself guys are giving it a go. And I've far more time for them than for those people who think that how you spell or punctuate or pronounce doesn't matter. Not that being able to spell makes you a better person. You're free to write however you like, and goodness knows you don't need me to tell you that. What it might be worth knowing, though, is that when you send emails full of misspellings and errant apostrophes, people judge you. And by people, I mean me. But I don't just mean me. I mean me and almost everyone I know. Now, let me repeat, you may not be worried about being judged by the likes of me, and that's fine. Why should you be? But it will happen. We will judge you. We won't tell you we're judging you, but we will. Is this terrible, snobbish discrimination against people who just don't happen to be very good spellers? Well, no, I don't think so. If you're a bad speller, surely everything you send should be spelt perfectly, because without the arrogant assumption you don't need to look things up, you'd look everything up. I still check how many L's there are in marvellous and panellist most weeks. No, it's the good spellers who are more likely to be lured into errors by the squiggly red gods of Microsoft Word. Bad spellers, with an online dictionary or even an on-desk dictionary, should be fine.
What sort of monkey? It wasn't a chimp, was it?
I'm not David Attenborough, I don't know, but
Excuse me, a chimpanzee, even though it looks like a monkey, isn't a monkey.
Well spotted. I deliberately said that.
Even though a chimp is totally, in every meaningful way, obviously it's a monkey, it's not a monkey. You know, it's a special place that's been made by biologists for pedants to reside, so that whenever anyone refers to a chimpanzee as a monkey like you did, then a pedant like me says, oh no, a chimpanzee isn't a monkey, and I've started to hate myself for that.
Nice of you to join the rest of us.
Who said the following? Was it Richard, Bob, Brian, me, or Russell Crowe?
I haven't cried since about 1996.
So, who was that?
I think Mr. David Mitchell probably doesn't cry.
No, he does. Not, you wouldn't see it, but it's, you know, like he probably just gets his hands and pushes them into his face and just runs straight into a wall to stop it happening or something.
Also, he probably keeps a diary, so logged it in 1996 when he did cry.
Yeah.
I do not log my liquid emissions.
So I think it's erring towards Russell Crowe. I think we'll go with Russell Crowe, yeah.
Well, the answer is... me! Yeah, that was me. I'm dead inside. It isn't me not getting my own way I object to. It's the social pressure to pretend that me not getting my own way is, now I stop to think about it, what I really wanted all along. Why are we expected to do that? Why are we so uncomfortable with saying, fine, I'll do it your way, but I don't agree? That seems like something we could say cheerfully and civilly enough without anyone having to run off to the loo for a little cry. We don't usually hate the boss for making us do it his way. If I was in charge, we think, I wouldn't listen to you either. By now, you may be thinking, oh, for heaven's sake, Mitchell, it's just a harmless social grace. I thought you were in favour of those. And so I am. But this one comes at a price. What they're robbing us of here is the right to use those 3 beautiful little words that mean so much. Told you so. If after one of these, yes, you're probably right, let's do that, false compromises, it all goes tits up in exactly the way you thought it would, well, you agreed to it, remember? With false collective agreement comes false collective responsibility. You're not only doing it wrong, it's also partly your fault. And I don't want that.
It's a tasteless thing, a shark fin, as well. It doesn't even taste of anything. Chicken stock has to be added to it to give it flavour.
But I hate sharks.
Well, why would you? They're beautiful, extraordinary animals. They don't harm anybody. What, because you find them ugly?
I think they're scary. They're incredibly scary. Every cell in my body, when I see that, says, it is the enemy.
They've got far more reason to be scared of a human than
Majority
human has
of mammals see human beings in exactly.
I would say they would. Look at the miracle of their teeth. That's extraordinary. They have rows of teeth. No, listen. Their teeth go backwards. And they bite, and then they fall out, and the next one literally comes forward, they've got conveyor belt of rows of teeth going all the way back. In there.
More impressive than that, Stephen, is how she's managed to do a lipstick underwater.
It is right, isn't it? Very pretty and charming.
Now your talk of razor-sharp teeth on a conveyor belt's making them sound quite sweet.
Are you a big fan of Kanye's music?
I must have heard it, like, around. You know,
Gold Digger?
sorts of...
Gold Digger?
Gold Digger.
That song?
I find I've often heard a song when people say that's a famous song, but I'm quite bad at hearing lyrics. So it's just like a noise. I mean, oh no, it's like a tune, but it's like I don't hear the words.
I like the way that you're saying tune in a totally different context to anyone in a club going tune.
I really don't understand what you did. I mean, what does it mean to go tune?
Just, it means it's a good song, I guess.
Oh, it's like recognition. Tune.
Yeah.
Tune.
You wouldn't say it as casually as that.
Tune.
Tune.
But more than that.
Give it more significance. I have noticed that there is a tune.
What's that? I don't understand how to cope with coffee. What's the problem with coffee?
Well, I don't drink coffee very much, and yet and so I want it destroyed. No, no. But no, I find that the amount people talk about coffee and where they're going to, we're going to go out and get some proper coffees, or you know, and
this coffee tastes like coffee.
This coffee is great. Oh, at last a decent coffee. Well, that's a terrible coffee. And you go, isn't it all coffee? People talk about Starbucks coffee as if, oh, it's disgusting. Obviously, Starbucks coffee doesn't taste like coffee at all. Yeah, doesn't it taste a bit like coffee? I'm sure it tastes more like coffee than it tastes like tea. And I feel excluded from that, and therefore I rage against it in a comedy Christmas book.
Moving on.
Why shouldn't you give a teenage boy your phone?
I'm not happy with anyone having my phone.
Oh, why?
My phone broke a few weeks ago, and it was like I'd lost a hand. In fact, I gained one. Because I could use two. I was honestly... I felt genuinely bereft. I think having something you can stare at, and by staring at it, you look like you're gainfully occupied.
Yeah.
And so people might leave you alone. It's a way of being a hermit wherever you are.
Well, I was sort of, you know, it's sort of over her.
What the hell are you doing?
No, I just, like, so I could, you know, I had a bit of my body on her.
I don't like humans touching me.
Just a bit of...
Absolutely.
Would you pay 1% tax if you could get away with it?
Well, I certainly wouldn't say I would.
Yeah, you're going to have to be more clever with your questioning, Adam.
Okay. I would, if I did so, I would only do it secretly and then lie about it.
So what would you...
I'm not lying about it. But that's what I would say if I was lying about it. But I'm not. That is what I'd say still.
So what would you do with people who are avoiding their tax?
I think I would kill them. I think that the problem here is that we've got... the system used to be that it was illegal, this is still the system, illegal to evade tax.
Yes.
That's agreed, that's illegal.
Yep.
We'll keep that. But this notion of avoiding tax being a sort of incredibly broad grey area is sort of is one of the stupidest and most annoying things in the world.
Yep.
Because essentially, on one level, if you make a pension contribution, you'll pay less tax, so you're avoiding tax by doing that. But most people would say, well, that's all right, that's a good, you know, perfectly reasonable bit of avoiding tax. And then a little bit more, you've got what Ed Miliband's family might have been involved in, that in terms of a house inheritance thing. I've forgotten what it's called, deed of variation. Most people say that's on the ice cream rankings of Lord Fink. That's less than vanilla. That's like unflavoured. But then you've got the vanilla stuff he was doing, moving all the way through to Gary Barlow's sort of evil-flavoured ice cream. But there's this huge sort of grey area, 50 shades of grey. and that is not an ice cream you want as well, is it? Yes, it's flavoured with the semen of a billionaire. But you don't want all that sort of... So what we're essentially saying is that people sort of get to choose... if they're rich, how much they reckon they ought to pay. Where on this moral scale do they place themselves? What can they square with their greed and their conscience? And that's an insane system, because ultimately that's a tax on conscience. That means the more conscience you've got, the better person you are, the more you pay in tax. Wow. So we're taxing being nice. Now, any economist will tell you that what you do in government is you tax the things you want to discourage and you don't tax the things you want to encourage. So we tax nicotine because we want to discourage smoking. We tax alcohol, we want to discourage drinking. But we don't tax pension contributions because we want to encourage people to put things into their pensions. Right. So what we're doing is we're discouraging people from being nice and having a conscience by taxing it. And that is the most fucking bonkers system that we could possibly have come across.
That is amazing.
We haven't got a clue. No, I think Charlie has a very vague idea that it might be something he hasn't heard. I'm convinced it's something I haven't heard. But it's difficult for me to select from all the billions of things I haven't heard which one it is.
Yeah, if it's not on Phil Collins' No Jacket Required, you really haven't got much of a chance.
Actually, you're way behind, because just the other day I was writing in a newspaper how I've also bought Susan Boyle's album. I've now bought 2 albums, and have consequently concluded that music is shit.
Well, good luck with that question.
That means your entire record collection are the tracks that we put on when we want people to leave at the end of the party. That's all you've got.
I think, basically, deep down, I want myself to leave.
This is meant to be a festive quiz, not an intervention.
But you seem often to be a little like a man out of time in some ways. Engaging with the modern world isn't necessarily... It's not your favourite place to be. Yeah. Would you have liked to have lived in Shakespeare's time? Would that have appealed to you?
Well, I mean, I like the aesthetic. I like the sort of Christmassy feel. Yeah. But I would fear the absence of antibiotics. Yeah. I think that's... You know, I'd love to be able to time travel, but I think post-antibiotics is very much the era you want to live in. Yeah. And maybe antibiotics are about to stop working. That's good news, everyone. So the era you want to live in are between the invention of antibiotics and before they stop working. Yeah. And fingers crossed we're all in that era. Yeah.
But you are quite... Are you pessimistic by nature? Because you seem to me like you're on the verge always of looking at the worst possible side of things.
Well, I think that's the way I keep positive. You know, if you expect the worst, you'll never be disappointed. But unfortunately, the world is so screwed at the moment, I haven't managed to expect things to be this bad. Yeah.
Did anything else scare you as a child?
Oh, yes, most things.
What else scared you?
Well, the trouble is that some children are timorous and some children are reckless.
Yeah, and Sagittarius.
And in order... But in order to save the lives of reckless children, warnings are calibrated for their safety, the result of which is that the timorous live in a state of perpetual terror. What I needed to be told is, you know what, most days you won't die, it's fine. I wasn't ever going to tear across a 3-lane motorway. Right. You know, the very existence of a 3-lane motorway in the same postcode as me made me not want to leave the house. I present an emotional intelligence quiz. I imagine you've already spotted the flaw, but don't worry, obviously I will not be judging this one myself. I mean, for God's sake, that wouldn't be so much the blind leading the blind as the blind blinding the sighted.
What do you do to break the ice with strangers, David?
I don't, really. I'm shy and difficult with strangers. I leave it to them to break the ice with me. And good luck them. No, I don't do anything.
I mean, even this exchange, I can see that.
Yeah, no, you're not... Is this supposed to break the ice?
Yeah.
I'd be more comfortable playing a word game. Here.
You're in luck.
Have you ever posted yourself a card to look popular? That's just you.
I'm sufficiently lonely that there's no one for me to look popular in front of.
When people say, oh, can I borrow your pen? What I want to say is, absolutely not! Get your own pen, this is mine! However, as part of a scheme I'm working on to try and seem normal would be an exaggeration, but, you know, at least acceptable in broader society, I try not to say that. I try and seem casual about, oh, yeah, borrow my pen, that's fine. And then I'm thinking about it constantly until it is returned.
I'll just write it down. David, can I borrow your pen?
No.
No?
No.
What sort of person won't lend someone else their pen?
The sort of person I could be friends with.
I can't believe you're not going to lend it to me.
You will soon.
Just give me the pen.
All right, Robert. I will lend you my pen if you sign this.
What's this?
Terms and conditions. You acknowledge that you are borrowing my pen and must return it to me as soon as you've finished using it to write down this number. You undertake not to chew the end of my pen at any time while it's in your possession, and you agree only to use the red and green biros and not the blue and black ones because those are my favourites.
All right, fine. If that's what it takes to get you to lend me your pen, I'll sign it. Can I borrow a pen?
No.
And where is it played? In Tottenham or at Hull?
In Tottenham.
Do you remember the name of the ground?
What if I could? Would that make this definitely true?
I'm not willing to say how I feel about that.
Okay.
So you say it.
I'm not willing to say how I feel about anything, but that's just because I'm British.
There's no good way to miss a train. Or rather, there's no good thing to do in the moments after missing it. There's no need to do anything, but most of us feel compelled to do some acting. The sort of acting a lot of people do is to try and pretend that they weren't really trying to catch the train at all, that they just happened to be having a bit of a jog in its vicinity and decided to canter to a stop coincidentally at around the same time as a train leaves. Not to worry, I didn't really need to catch that. I'm really unconcerned and unself-conscious, is the message such people self-consciously try to convey. But I know better than to do that. What I find myself doing instead, which is just as daft, if not dafter, is sort of over-exaggerating, or at least signalling my frustration at not having caught it. Do you know what I mean? Eye-rolling, cheek-puffing, head-shaking. Oh, the train! Damn, I was hoping to... Now I can't. Oh, me and my luck. What on earth am I hoping to achieve here? I suppose I'm trying to reassure anyone who's just witnessed my ungainly scamper along the platform that I knew I looked silly, and that I was doing it for a good, sensible reason. I wanted to catch the train. In case anyone thought I was a weird, hyperactive maniac who might run at high speed for a bit, despite coat, scarf and suitcase, and then suddenly and inexplicably stop. But no, I've done my little train-missing regret pantomime now, so everyone will understand what just happened and how explicable and normal it all was, and feel reassured that I'm not about to publicly self-harm. Phew. Nor is this the only time I do things like this. Every so often, I leave my house and start walking down the street before I realise I've forgotten my phone. Now, if I for some reason was certain that I was completely unobserved, I think what I would do at the moment of realisation is this. Stop, blink with irritation, turn round and walk back to my house. But because I do not know I'm unobserved, instead I feel compelled to stop, tut, exhale theatrically, perhaps even pat my pockets. Pat my pockets. Pockets in which I don't even carry my phone. Just in case some theoretical but minute observer watches me turn back and retrace my steps and thinks, oh dear, that poor man is demented, walking weirdly up and down like a caged tiger. But firstly, why do I care what they think? And secondly, no one thinks like that anyway. If I saw someone turn 180 degrees in the street, so ingrained is the human habit of looking for patterns and telling stories, I would say to myself, oh, he's probably forgotten something, if I noticed at all. And yet we all, dear God, I hope it's all of us, put time and effort into these little dumb shows designed to tell people who aren't looking and wouldn't care if they did things they already know.
Oh, you've heard this, have you?
Yes. I have never, ever before seen a woman lactate that violently.
But did you like it now that you've heard it properly?
No.
Why not?
It's all right. I'm not sorry it stopped.
Do you ever... Do either of you ever dance?
No.
No.
I'm
David.
speaking for you.
No.
I
I bet you dance at home. What about if you've just had a banging shower and you hear that? Would you just do a little thing with the towel?
No.
Bust a move?
I really wouldn't.
What would you do? If that comes on and you've stepped...
Man, I'll work it.
Can we hear that again? I'd like to see Jonathan show
Oh, no,
us
I'm not going to do it now. I need to be naked. See, you've got to bust the move. That's what I'm talking about. But I'd like to see... Come on, now let's see the fellas have a go.
No, this is...
Come on, let's see a bit.
OK, let's have from David and John.
What? I refuse.
Let's see you.
What?
OK, I know, I like...
What makes you think I was going to do that?
I like the way you have two...
Fuck off, I'm hired to sit here and be sarcastic. Dance around like some...
like some... His name is Jonathan. Leave him alone.
This is actually... The world is full of people trying to make people who don't want to dance, dance. At weddings and things. Go on, have a dance. You want to, really. No, I really don't want to. I know my own mind. I don't want to. Now it's happening to people on television.
Anyway, none of you went for the gay Thomas the Tank Engine, which... and I think, as Victoria rightly pointed out, it's not as if they are sexual in any way, those engines. And so the only way of representing one as gay would be liking musicals. So I genuinely wonder and sort of hope that the kind of, oh, I'm gay, so I must like musicals thing will disappear after 100 years of homosexuality being totally accepted. And, it'd be perfectly possible to hate musicals and be gay.
Me beginning to think you protest a little too much over there. Seem like you got some real strong feelings about this.
Either I'm secretly gay or I secretly love musicals. Because if I was secretly both, that would be fine.
I'm going to say it. He asked for a selfie. We took a selfie, so it was very nice. I was feeling my...
It was very nice.
My fragile... Yeah, it was nice. Look, it's not an accident we're in this business. On some level, we have an emptiness inside that we need to fill with the approval of strangers. And a little bit of the approval of a stranger was making me feel a bit better about myself. Thank you very much.
And David...
Albeit briefly, and then it turned out he had an ulterior motive.
Have you ever relied on your friend's help to chat up a woman?
No. I just never chatted up a woman. I occasionally got pissed and lunged. Some people complain that in Britain we're so standoffish and/or repressed that we can't even talk to each other on public transport. I think that's a wonderful thing. I sit on a full bus or underground carriage of people sitting together in complete silence, and my heart swells with pride at a culture sophisticated enough to have evolved a convention that acknowledges that chatting with strangers is almost always an unrewarding chore.
I find it incredibly irritating when other people fiddle with my jigsaws.
So generally, a 1,000-piece jigsaw, you're coming back to it now and again, work commitments permitting. How long does it take?
Let's say 3 months.
OK, 3
All right,
months?
let's say it, 3 months.
3 months? It's a 1,000-piece jigsaw, 333 pieces a month.
Excessive.
So he's doing about 90 pieces a week. So he's doing about 15 pieces a day, right? 15 pieces a day is borderline, you need help.
I don't need help, and I don't like it when people help.
That's the point. OK, David, truth or lie?
It is true.
The thing that seems unfair to me is the number of people who are expected to pretend they care about jobs they don't care about. You should be allowed to say, look, I'm fulfilling my contract. You can't put in the contract, also you have to seem like you give a shit. I think that's expecting too much. Yeah. That's why I really like the fact that we live in a country with such poor customer service. I've got respect for that. You know? This is a horrible train, you're tearing tickets, of course you're in an awful mood.
Now that you've put it like that, I shall feel better about it. You're right. Why have a cheesy grin on your face if you are working in an awful supermarket?
Well, it's the sign either of a liar or a moron.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Thank God it's ending. Finally. Still got all my fingers intact, too.
Are you okay?
Oh, yeah, that was fun.
Oh, I feel awful. I suppose doing things you hate is just the price you pay to avoid loneliness.
Well, how do you know Ben?
He was at school with me.
OK, and if you don't like football, why would you have gone?
I'm an idiot. I like to... no, I was about to say I like to experience new things. No, I don't. But occasionally I get bullied into experiencing new things under peer pressure. He said, you're always slagging off football. Why don't you come along and the atmosphere will be great, you might quite like it, and then maybe, just maybe, you'll shut up for a bit.
And now, since you were on the show last time, which was a few years ago, you've become a father.
Yeah.
And you have a lovely daughter in your life. Now, how's that been for you? How's that changed you?
I mean, she is, just to speak objectively, she's the best human being that's ever been born.
Wow.
She's, you know, fortunate. I feel lucky to know her.
And she's 3 now, isn't she?
She's 3. Unfortunately, getting back to how awful everything is, there's nothing like having a tiny child whose safety you're responsible for to make you worry.
Yeah.
You know, you really don't want the world to spin into the sun and explode.
No.
I mean, you thought you didn't want it before, but you really don't want it. So, yeah, that's the real downside of parenthood, and I suppose any form of love, is it makes you fear more.
Yeah. So love should be avoided, then,
well,
really.
I would say it's not... Love is not a stress reduction exercise, is it?
Well, it can have moments of joy, unless you've got someone to share the fear with.
Yes, moments of joy, but actually, who wants moments of joy? What you want is a long period of bland contentment. That's everyone's dream. You don't want the stiletto, you want the slipper.
So you'd give up the peaks if you could avoid the troughs?
Well, it's not the choice I've taken, is it? I'm a family man. I've made bad choices, and I'm constantly worried.
Yeah. Do you share that with her yet?
No, I try and pretend everything's OK. Because I think a very good way to start a relationship with a child is by lying.
Before you met Victoria, what were you like with girls and stuff?
I wasn't very good with women. I didn't have very many significant relationships. I was very shy, very awkward, and spent a lot of my time, you know, quietly infatuated with someone who I barely had the courage to speak to.
What's the most complex thing you do in your kitchen?
Worry about death.
Alex, when you're there on the one show, do you exchange gifts? Do you and Matt Baker? Do you? It's me, Matt Baker. Do you?
Matt has bought me a variety of gifts over the years. Last year, a cup and saucer. It's one of those you'd put in a posh cupboard in your kitchen. There's only one ever, and it's in that one.
It's nice, I always think, in your house to put a few things aside for people to pack away when you're dead. I've got a few things in my house. You put them there, you sort of think, yeah, I won't be touching that again. But one day, when I'm dead, someone will have to deal with that.
All right, well, David, what do you think?
I think we'll all die one day.